In the dark and mysterious heart of the South American rainforest, amid the towering treetops and the rushing waters of hidden rivers, a legend rises. Paititi. A city woven into myth and gilded with the promise of endless gold, an ancient Inca center said to have sheltered incredible riches and an unrivaled culture. Merely its name sparks the imagination of adventurers, historians, and dreamers everywhere. Paititi hovers between reality and fantasy, calling on us to unravel its mysteries. Like a distant song echoing from beyond time, this city prompts the question, how could such a magnificent place have existed? And more importantly, why did it vanish without a trace? Morning light slips through the dense foliage, while dewdrops glitter like gems on the vines. The tropical rainforest is a realm of sounds and shadows, a universe in itself, pulsing with life and mystery. The scent of wild flowers, the buzzing of insects, and the calls of tropical birds blend into a primordial symphony. Here, amid the lush vegetation, people say Paititi once rose, the place where past and legend unite. To open this story, imagine a cinematic orchestra whose crescendo carries us through the mist-laden air, revealing a patch of civilization encircled by massive stone walls, expertly sculpted and draped with moss and wild vines. In the distance, rivers crash and tumble, reflecting the sun like threads of molten gold. Thus begins our journey, on the threshold of a historical dream transformed into legend. The origins of Paititi are closely tied to the expansion of the Inca Empire, which during the 13th and 14th centuries pushed its borders beyond the Andes, crossing deep valleys and arduous regions to affirm its supremacy. Cusco, the mighty capital of the empire, became a major political and cultural hub. Yet the ambition of the Inca flung open the doors to new conquests and alliances. It is believed that in this era of expansion, a band of nobles, priests, and warriors embarked on a daring expedition beyond the mountain barriers in search of fertile lands and rich natural resources. Legend says they reached a region where the rivers flowed through endless forests and where gold deposits were abundant. Mesmerized by the natural wealth but wary of unknown dangers, these adventurers chose to found a new city, safeguarded by the dense green heart of the jungle. Hence Paititi was born, a name whose linguistic roots fade into the Quechua and Aymara dialects, and which over time would become a symbol of prosperity and the indomitable spirit of the Inca people. As the city took shape, its founders demonstrated remarkable ingenuity. Drawing on the architectural and technological knowledge learned in Cusco and Machu Picchu, Paititi's builders erected palaces and temples from perfectly joined stones, without mortar, with uncanny precision. Around the principal building spread neighborhoods and farming zones adapted to the tropical environment, complete with clever terraces to manage moisture and irrigation systems that channeled water from the rivers. Certain ancient documents, though controversial, describe priests who oversaw religious ceremonies devoted to the sun and moon gods, as well as other sacred entities linked to fertility and the flow of time. Glimmering murals, textiles, and gold or silver objects highlight the city's material abundance. In the marketplaces, skilled artisans worked precious metals, crafting jewelry and ornaments for the nobility, while farmers brought exotic produce such as rare fruits and invaluable medicinal plants. Paititi's leadership consisted of a group of high-ranking nobles, possibly related to the imperial family in Cusco. They stayed in contact with the emperor, the Sapa Inca, via a system of couriers and messengers traveling along Inca roads or secret jungle paths. Religious authority was equally vital. The high priests enjoyed privileged status, orchestrating ceremonies that honored the deities and were intended to maintain nature's balance and the community's prosperity. Below these rulers were the artisans and warriors, each with distinct responsibilities. The warriors defended the city from hostile tribes and guarded trade routes, thus ensuring the flow of goods into and out of the jungle's interior. The artisans fashioned tools, textiles, and works of art, while the farmers supplied fresh food and raw materials. Social cohesion was maintained through shared traditions, rituals, and beliefs, with the city's success hinging on the collaboration of all social classes. Additionally, there are indications that Paititi had an advanced system for storing and distributing provisions to guard against the unforeseen. Stables, granaries, and public markets were well supplied, reflecting a strategic resource management. In this way, Paititi not only survived, but blossomed in the heart of the tropical rainforest. Where rivers gather rich sediments, another source of fascination emerges: gold. Tales of Paititi emphasize the city's countless reserves of this precious metal. Some even say that the stones of its buildings were adorned with gold leaf, and that its gods' statues were massive and gleaming, overshadowing anything previously seen in Cuzco. As exaggerated as these accounts may sound, there is no doubt that this precious metal was key to the city's fame. Traders who reached Paititi spoke of temples with gilded doors and sumptuous festivals in which gold offerings were laid on altars. Certain Spanish chronicles, especially those penned following the conquest of the Inca Empire, stoked the ambitions of adventurers to seek out these fabled lost treasures. In their minds, Paititi became synonymous with El Dorado, an unreal land where riches knew no boundaries. Yet for the locals, gold also carried a profound spiritual significance, representing solar energy and the bond between earth and deity. Like the rest of Inca culture, Paititi was closely linked to a polytheistic religion focused on venerating Inti, the sun god, Mama Killa, the moon goddess, and other forces of nature, the mountains, Apus, the earth, Pachamama, and the waters. Every natural phenomenon represented an aspect of divinity, and rituals sought to preserve harmony between humankind and the cosmos. These ceremonies might have included elaborate dances, grand processions, and symbolic offerings, from sacred plants like coca to small animals. Chroniclers, though few, indicate that on special occasions, even more spectacular events could be organized. Harvest festivals, ceremonies for the equinoxes and solstices, all woven deeply into daily life. In the stone temples, priests read the signs of the stars and offered political and spiritual guidance to the rulers. It appears that in Paititi there was a special veneration of waters, given the city's location in a swampy area rich in springs, rivers, and lakes. The people celebrated cycles of renewal and periodic floods, seen as omens of rebirth and the endurance of life. Such beliefs may have played a crucial role in preserving the community's unity and sustaining its hopes for a prosperous future. Although secluded in the jungle, Paititi was not isolated from the wider world. The Inca Empire boasted an impressive network of roads crossing valleys, mountains, and forests, linking many different geographical areas. Even in less accessible regions, footpaths trodden by llama caravans or human porters proved essential to commerce. Stories claim that Paititi traded spices, medicinal plants, exotic fruits, and possibly even artifacts with neighboring villages or more distant realms. Alongside these goods, knowledge of astronomy, architecture, agriculture, and weaving was also disseminated through these commercial and cultural connections. The city functioned as a junction between Andean civilizations and Amazonian tribes, creating a distinctive cultural synthesis. Such interaction enabled Paititi to thrive despite the challenge of maintaining a large settlement in a hostile tropical environment. These obstacles prompted innovations, adapted terrace systems for marshy soils, dikes and dams to manage flooding, and inventive methods of working with wood and plant fibers. Picture the bustle of a typical day in Paititi. Along the stone-paved streets, women and men wear brightly colored textiles adorned with sacred symbols and clan totems. From the markets, voices rise in negotiations over the price of freshly caught fish, sweet fruits, and grains brought from far-off lands. Bells or large drums announce various events, perhaps a religious ceremony, perhaps the arrival of an official. Close to the Sun Temple, a priest conducts a dawn service, raising his arms to the sky in thanks for the light and warmth that awaken life. On the same morning, goldsmiths hammer fine ornaments on the anvil, preparing a diadem for a noble or idols for a new shrine. Children race through the lanes and courtyards, their laughter mingling with the rhythm of daily life. This vivid tableau reveals how, in spite of its location in the midst of a wild environment, Paititi was essentially a bustling city with traditions, laws, innovations, and countless opportunities. How did Paititi become a legend? Historians and explorers argue that with the arrival of the Spanish conquistadors in the 16th century, myths of a gold-laden city fired the imagination of the Western world. Accounts from Inca survivors who supposedly took refuge in the Amazon to escape Spanish terror added another layer of mystery. They described a final bastion of Inca resistance, where nobility and priests preserved traditions, treasure, and sacred knowledge. As Spain extended its dominion and the Inca vestiges were shattered under the armies of Pizarro, the hope that an unspoiled sanctuary still existed turned into an ideal. Any adventurer who heard the tales of fabulous riches longed to embark on a quest for this miraculous realm. Several conquistadors and missionary friars, including the missionary Andrés López, wrote of a hidden city in the east, teeming with gold and governed by Inca refugees. Thus, Paititi became the starting point for a string of expeditions, none of which ended in indisputable proof. All around Paititi's myth grew tales with a supernatural flair. Some local stories claim that the city was swallowed by the earth under a curse, or that it was shrouded in an eternal mist, concealed from mortal sight. Other myths assert that spirits or sacred creatures, such as ancient jaguars, keep vigil at the gateway to Paititi, shielding it from unwanted outsiders. Certain modern researchers connect these legends to the specific geography of the Amazon. Fog banks and torrential rains can quickly cloak any trace of structures. The region, hard to map, features swampy zones and sheer canyons, making exploration perilous. Clashes with local tribes, often hostile to any intruder, intensified the myth. Stepping onto this land means venturing into a legendary realm where nature and divinity unite to protect their secrets. Yet how can we explain the downfall of a settlement so prosperous and well-structured? One theory posits that, after the Spanish subdued the Inca Empire, the trade routes linking Paititi to Cuzco and other Andean areas were severed, leaving the city dangerously isolated. Deprived of a steady influx of resources and knowledge, the social fabric may have started to unravel. Another viewpoint points to internal conflicts. It is possible that Paititi witnessed power struggles among noble factions in the absence of a strong central authority. As tensions mounted, some argue that leaving the city became inevitable. Furthermore, the tropical environment, with unknown diseases and severe sanitary challenges, may have been lethal to a population already weakened. On top of potential social and political causes, natural disasters also played a part. Periodic floods, landslides, and extreme weather can devastate urban infrastructures, especially in areas with rugged terrain and marshy soil. A city perched at the junction of nature's forces must remain vigilant. One planning mistake, a prolonged drought, or a series of overwhelming floods can render a city uninhabitable. Over time, the jungle devours everything. Stone structures become cloaked in greenery, roads vanish beneath tree roots, and the memory of a glorious city turns into legend. What remains in the chronicles is just a shadow of what once was, along with rumors that gold still slumbers under layers of earth and vegetation. Throughout the centuries, countless explorers, from conquistadors to modern archaeology enthusiasts and treasure hunters, have roamed the Amazon in search of Paititi. Some have claimed to find Inca ruins deep in the forests of Peru, Brazil, or Bolivia. Others brought back photos and vague notes, stirring speculation, but never presenting solid evidence. Modern technology, such as satellite imagery and LiDAR scans, has revealed traces of possible terracing and unknown structures in certain regions of the Amazon. Scientists admit there are still vast unexplored sections of rainforest, and uncovering ancient cities remains possible. Nevertheless, there is no clear consensus that any of these discovered sites is the legendary Paititi. With the passage of time, Paititi sank even deeper into popular culture, becoming the topic of countless books, documentaries, films, and video games. To some, it is a cautionary tale of how fleeting every civilization can be, and a reminder of nature's power, which ultimately reclaims all. To others, it is a beacon of hope that genuine marvels may still lie undiscovered on our planet, and that scientific advancement can shine a light at any moment into the darkness of legend. Paradoxically, the more research is done, the greater the enigma becomes. Every ruined wall unearthed, every ancient map scrutinized, every pottery shard recovered, raises new questions. Wherever it may be, if it exists at all, Paititi remains shrouded in myth. To fully grasp the spirit of Paititi, we must look at the heart of the civilization that shaped it, the Incas. Rooted in exceptional administrative precision and profound religious beliefs, the Inca society managed to build magnificent cities under challenging geographical conditions. Machu Picchu, perched on steep cliffs at soaring altitudes, stands as the iconic example of how the Incas harmoniously integrated themselves with nature. Likewise, Paititi displays the same adaptability, but in a setting of damp, stifling rainforest. Scholars believe that Inca lifestyle prepared its citizens to endure in varied environments, backed by advanced knowledge of agriculture, building techniques, and natural medicine. The idea that this city could thrive, hidden in the heart of the Amazon, lends partial credibility to the tales of the Incas' ingenuity and resilience. In museums and private collections, we find Inca artifacts of astonishing beauty. Textiles woven with gold thread, ceramic vessels with animal and plant motifs, daggers and adornments of precious metals. Some of these items, with their distinctive style, have been tentatively linked to workshops in the empire's eastern territories. Although they cannot be definitively traced to Paititi, they point to the breadth and variety of Inca art, extending beyond the known boundaries of the Andes. Alongside their aesthetic appeal, these pieces reflect technological sophistication. Smelting, alloying, and working with metals, along with the intricate weaving techniques, prove the existence of elite craftspeople. All of this reinforces the possibility that a place like Paititi, endowed with natural and material bounty, might have been a thriving cultural center. For some indigenous tribes of the Amazon, the legend of Paititi is not just an external myth, but a part of their oral tradition, passed down from one generation to the next. Their rituals may include dances and songs referencing powerful ancestors endowed with magical knowledge, watched over by the spirits of the rainforest. Certain elders speak of sacred sites barred to outsiders, places where the people of the sun or the people of the white stones once dwelled. This local dimension adds significant weight to the legend. It is not merely a romanticized invention of European explorers, but a deep-rooted belief, anchored in the spirituality and oral history of Amazonian communities. Thus, a number of researchers hold that working in tandem with these tribes may yield vital clues about ancient settlements. In the present day, archaeologists, ethnologists, and anthropologists are collaborating to solve the riddle of Paititi. They employ modern investigative methods, from soil and paleoecological analyses to remote sensing technologies. Initial results show that certain parts of the Amazon were once shaped by large populations, featuring extensive agricultural and urban systems. Although the evidence remains sparse, some hypothesize that Paititi could be one of these hitherto unknown centers, established by the Incas or possibly by their forerunners, only to be swallowed by the jungle. A vital aspect of this research is careful cooperation with local communities and respect for sacred sites to prevent the accidental destruction of valuable archaeological remains. Imagine that one day, future technologies succeed in pinpointing an underground network of tunnels or stone walls, finally proving Paititi's true existence. How would the world respond? We would likely witness one of the greatest archaeological revelations of the century. This discovery would rewrite history books and grant a fresh perspective on Inca civilization and human potential for adapting to extreme environments. On the other hand, if Paititi remains a mere legend, its magic does not fade, but continues to fuel the imagination of countless explorers and artists. In an increasingly digital age, we sometimes need these kinds of mysteries to keep the spirit of adventure and curiosity alive. Thus, we near the end of this imagined journey into the past, carried along by the notes of an imaginary orchestra, concluding its symphony with a solemn yet hopeful cadence. In the mind's eye, we can still see those thick walls overgrown with ferns and wild orchids, and we can hear the echo of sacred drums heralding a new dawn. Paititi is more than a vanished city. It is a symbol of the grandeur and transience of human civilizations, a lesson in how nature can eventually reclaim any glittering creation, as well as in how humanity's quest for knowledge and faith in myth can survive for centuries. It shows us that deep within the rainforest, just as in the depths of the human soul, unimaginable treasures may lie hidden if we have the courage to seek them. We end with an invitation to gaze into the unknown with open minds and hearts full of wonder. Whether Paititi is purely mythical or still awaits discovery, it calls us to both adventure and contemplation. Its mystery reminds us that the world is brimming with secrets, and perhaps the greatest stories remain untold. Maybe one day we shall tread those stone roads ourselves and hear, in the rainforest's murmur, the song of the Golden City, Paititi, the hidden gem of the Inca Empire. Our journey concludes here, yet the echo of this legendary city endures. You have witnessed a tale of bravery, adaptation, and grand ambitions, of challenging the most formidable conditions, and of hoping that even in the darkest corners of the world, light might be concealed. As we depart this mythical realm and leave the jungles to continue their eternal chant, let us carry the message of exploration, discovery, and fascination with history's enigmas. For much like Paititi, there will always be new horizons to unveil, and the past will forever whisper to us who we are and who we might become. With hearts still reverberating with emotion, we invite viewers to turn inward and ask themselves, what other secrets, what other forgotten civilizations, what other Paititis await, yearning to be rediscovered in the hidden corners of the world? If history teaches us anything, it is that under every leaf, beneath every stone, and in every dream, there lies the potential for new wonders. Such discoveries drive humanity forward, reminding us that we are woven of the same thread of curiosity and hope as the ancestors who believed in the miraculous golden city of Paititi.